The Occoquan Radio Podcast is a private production and is not affiliated with the town of Occoquan. Opinions expressed on the podcast are solely those of its host and guests. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the May 11th episode of the Occoquan Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Ernie Porta, bringing you 10 to 15 minutes every week of irregular, unscheduled updates on things Occoquan and beyond. This week on the podcast, we'll discuss recent items associated with the town, discuss the history of Mother's Day, note some weird time zone facts in our Rumor Mill Shredder segment, and close by reviewing upcoming activities in town. Make sure you don't miss an episode by searching for us on the podcasting app of your choice and hitting the subscribe button. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode of the Occoquan Radio Podcast. At its meeting on Tuesday, May 6th, the Occoquan Town Council held a public hearing on the proposed budget for FY 2026. A public hearing on the proposed tax rates for FY 2026 will take place on May 20th, after which the Town Council may vote on the adoption of both the tax rates and the budget. Also at the meeting of May 6th, the Town Council approved the adoption of a proclamation for Police Week. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed the first proclamation recognizing May 15th as Peace Officers' Memorial Day, and the week in which it falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the Occoquan Police Department work tirelessly to protect and serve our residents, businesses, and visitors and keep our community safe. And whereas police officers report for duty aware of the sacrifices they may be called upon to make and risk their lives each and every day to safeguard the public and enforce the laws of the town and the Commonwealth. And whereas Virginia Police Week and Officers Memorial Day are opportunities to reflect upon the dedication and service of our police, honor officers who have fallen in the line of duty, and recognize the sacrifices made by the families of those officers and the families of those who continue to protect and serve our community. Now, therefore, I, Ernest W. Porta, Jr., Mayor of the Town of Occoquan, and on behalf of the Occoquan Town Council, hereby proclaim May 11th to 17th, 2025, as Police Week in the Town of Occoquan, and urge the community to join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who have dedicated themselves to their community. Adopted this 6th day of May, 2025. Last week, May 4th through May 10th, was also National Hurricane Preparedness Week. Hurricane season starts on June 1, and the three major things recommended to prepare are 1. To create a survival kit that includes things you would need if stranded away from home for 3 to 7 days. 2. Have an evacuation plan that includes a place where everyone should meet. And 3. Build an inventory that includes pictures, electronic files, etc. for insurance purposes. As some of you know, Occoquan has been hit by a number of major storms in its history, the most devastating of which were the remnants of Hurricane Agnes in June of 1972. You can, of course, read more about Agnes in Virginia, including what happened in Occoquan, in my book published April of last year by the History Press, entitled Hurricane Agnes in Virginia. It's available at Hitchcock Paper in Occoquan, the Millhouse Museum in Occoquan, as well as at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and other fine book retailers in our area. On Sunday, May 11th, Mother's Day, the town held a ribbon cutting for the grand opening of a new business in town, 2B. As noted in the town's social media post on the event, quote, tucked away at 308 Poplar Alley, this charming shop is home to a sweet collection of candles, handcrafted earrings, and custom pieces, all lovingly created by owner Thalia Wyatt. Whether you're on the hunt for a special gift or want to paint your own one-of-a-kind piece, 2B is a local gem you won't want to miss, end quote. Let's all welcome 2B to Occoquan. Thank you for choosing us. Last in this segment, I want to thank everyone who participated in the Occoquan Reservoir race on Saturday for stand-up paddleboard, kayak, and outrigger canoe 1. This was the first race in the 2025 Mayor's Occoquan Race Series, and I'm grateful to everyone who participated. As this episode is being recorded on Mother's Day, I thought in this history segment we'll discuss the story of Mother's Day using an article from the Smithsonian American Women's History Museum entitled The History of Mother's Day from Global Peace to Greeting Cards. Mother's Day in the United States has a history all its own, and it's more complicated than greeting cards might lead you to believe. There were repeated efforts to establish a Mother's Day holiday and conflicting ideas about what it should stand for and how it should be observed. From a call for women to improve global policymaking and seek peace to a day to honor women's work and role in the family, the history of the holiday reveals multiple insights into how mothers shape the world. Julia Ward Howe, best known as the author of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, was an abolitionist, a women's rights advocate, and a peace activist. In 1870, horrified by the death and destruction she had witnessed during the Civil War, and concerned by the Franco-Prussian War unfolding abroad, Howe issued what has come to be known as her Mother's Day Proclamation, originally called An Appeal to Womanhood Throughout the World. In it, Howe urged the creation of an international body of women who could find ways to avoid war and bloodshed. I earnestly ask that a General Congress of Women without limit or nationality may be appointed to promote the alliance of the different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, the great and general interests of peace. When that didn't happen, Howe sought to establish an annual Mother's Day for Peace to be celebrated in June. That did happen in a few places, for a while. The version of Mother's Day celebrated today is more directly rooted in the work of Anne Jarvis and her daughter, Anna Jarvis, who established the holiday to honor her mother. Frustratingly for the younger Jarvis, most people don't celebrate it today the way she intended. Anne Maria Reeves Jarvis, 1832 to 1905, bore more than a dozen children. Most of the children died from diseases such as diphtheria or measles, which were common during her day in the Appalachian area of Virginia, later West Virginia, where she lived. Jarvis worked hard in her community to try to help other mothers and families avoid the tragedies she had suffered. Part of a national public health movement populated in large part by women reformers, Jarvis organized Mothers' Work Clubs and promoted special Mothers' Work Days, when women would collaboratively collect trash and undertake other projects to improve local environmental conditions and their neighbors' understanding of hygiene. The focus of Jarvis's work changed when war struck. Her region was deeply divided by the Civil War. Local soldiers fought on both sides of the conflict, and guerrilla warfare was rampant. Jarvis insisted that the women's groups she organized help both Confederate and Union troops who were sick or wounded, and she worked to promote peace and unity following the war. In 1868, despite threats of violence, she organized a Mother's Friendship Day to bring families from both sides of the war together to try to restore a sense of community. It's possible that Howe's proclamation 2 years later was inspired by Jarvis. The two knew each other. At the very least, Jarvis and Howe shared the belief that women, and especially mothers, were best suited to bring people together with a goal of peace. After Anne Jarvis's death, her daughter, Anna Jarvis, 1864 to 1948, set out to honor her mother's legacy by establishing a National Mother's Day on the second Sunday in May, the day her mother had died. Anna, who never married or had children of her own, did not focus the holiday on peace activism, but on the idea of honoring one's own mother. She chose white carnations as an emblem and urged people to write heartfelt letters of gratitude to their mothers. In Anna Jarvis's eyes, sending a pre-printed card didn't count. Anna succeeded in her quest for official recognition, and President Wilson issued a proclamation of the first National Mother's Day just before the start of World War I in 1914. Anna Jarvis, however, soon grew discontented as she noted increasing commercialization of the celebration. What she had wanted to be an earnest holy day had become in her eyes a crass holiday benefiting florists and greeting card companies more than honoring the mothering work done by women. Anna was so distraught over the way Americans observed the holiday she had worked hard to establish that she started a petition to have it recalled in 1943. 5 years later, she died penniless in a sanitarium where her bills were paid by the same greeting card companies and florists she despised. Mother's Day provides an excellent opportunity to reflect on and honor the role of mothers in our own families and in the rich and complicated history of our nation. That's the intro sound for our Rumor Mill Shredder segment. This is where we pay homage to the fact that while for much of its history Occoquan was a prosperous mill town, the only mill in operation today is the rumor mill. Here we take on urban legends, myths, rumors, or other similar topics that need straightening out. I'm going way outside of Occoquan this episode since a recent video on the quirks of time zones caught my eye and I wanted to share it. We all know that a day is approximately 24 hours long, right? I say approximately because we know that for the sake of practicality in any given place there is some variation between physical time, i.e. when the sun is exactly overhead, and the cultural reality of time, for example, what time our watch says it is. This is basically because we cannot reasonably expect to use time based on what it physically is for where exactly each person is standing. And to standardize things, we developed time zones so that the cultural reality of time and physical time stayed relatively close. So there are always approximately 24 hours in a day, right? Well, not exactly. And this is because a few countries in the Pacific Ocean decided that they wanted to move the international date line eastward around them. Tonga and Samoa are two examples. By doing so, they made their time UTC, that is Coordinated Universal Time, the successor term for Greenwich Mean Time, plus 13 hours. Now think about that. Logically, we should only be able to have a maximum of UTC plus or minus 12 hours, since that would span 24 hours. Nevertheless, Tonga and Samoa made theirs plus 13. Even more oddly, the equatorial Pacific country of Kiribati, it's spelled like Kiribati, but it is pronounced Kiribati, because its islands are spread over such a long distance, set up two time zones when it moved the date line around them, UTC plus 13 hours and UTC plus 14 hours. The latter, in effect, technically creates the equivalent of a 26-hour day. Weird, right? And that is just scratching the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the oddities of time zones. We'll finish, as always, with upcoming events in town. First, I want to note that tickets are now on sale for the very popular 17th Annual Duck Splash Race, which will take place on Sunday, June 8th, during the town's Riverfest and Craft Show. For more information and to adopt a duck, go to www.occoquanfestivals.com/ducksplash. On May 13th, from 6 to 8 p.m., Leaf and Petal will hold its Leaves and Literacy Book Club gathering. And on Friday, May 16th, will hold its Friday night Flights of Teas from 4 to 6 p.m. On May 17th, the Tiny Supply Company will hold a kids' rainbow bracelet making class from 10 to noon. And from 10 to 3 that same day, the Loft Gallery will hold a pen and ink portraits class with Bob Bierderisky. And of course, I'm excited to note that our popular Trivia Night in Rivermill Park season will kick off on Friday, May 16th at 6:30 p.m. The topic is Pop Culture Palooza. For more information on these and other activities in Occoquan, go to www.visitoccoquanva.com/events. Again, that's www.visitoccoquanva.com/events. That brings us to the end of this episode of the Occoquan Radio Podcast. Make sure you don't miss an episode by searching for us on the podcasting app of your choice and hitting the subscribe button. I'm your host, Ernie Porta. Thank you for listening. Oh, one more thing before I go. I'd like to wish my own mother a happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. And I just have one question for you. I know Ed's your favorite, but did he mention you on a podcast?